Hi everyone, it's Claire. It's that time of month and it is the full buck moon in Capricorn, 10th of July and some places 11th of July. And that happens around 9:37 p.m. in the UK tonight, 4:37 New York and 1:37 Los Angeles, and allow, wherever you are for working it out. So it is at 18 degrees and 15 minutes of Capricorn. And at the same time, in with the full moon, the sun is always opposite, and it's in the sun in the sign of Cancer at 18 degrees 15 minutes. So Capricorn, I looked at actually Molly McCord, Maria, a lovely Greek lady, and I think her second name is Vasami. And I looked at Tanya Gabrielle and I looked at Pam Gregory. So a nice spread of people, really. It is a very busy time. Really, Capricorn is about responsibilities. You may feel these aspects of Capricorn: commitment, work. It's about accessing our inner authority, looking at our goals, moving forward with those. How far have we come and where are we going next? And seeing what's not working. So it's a big part of, doing a good job ourselves, if you like. And that, when I say job, I mean anything, your projects, whatever that might be. And has your goal been achieved, or is it no longer relevant? And honour what you're going to close, because the full moon is a time of culmination. It's a good period to really consider what do you no longer need to do. And the sun in Cancer reminds us about our home, our family, and emotions. So they're very kind of different signs completely, really. Cancer is water, obviously, and Capricorn is an earth sign, so that's quite different as well. And maybe have a think about the balance between work and family, or work and home life as well. Are we overworking? Are we overcommitted? This is really going through what Molly McCord had said, really. And can we nurture a family connection a bit better? And look at what maybe others expect of us. And she talked about the Pisces North Node retrograde, let go of things which have been too stressful, and also the full moon trining South Node in Virgo, I think. And what do we complete? So look at fine-tuning things and fixing things. And also Mars is in Virgo around July 20th to 23rd. And we might need to close out what we no longer need, or, old routines that have got stale, exercise things that we don't do anymore, that type of thing. And where we're putting in effort and we don't get any return. And it's very much about the rule of Saturn at the moment, really. I have felt this incredibly strongly for probably the last 2 or 3 months with this influence of Saturn, which I personally have found hard, but it did get me to achieve some results in personal things and things to do with my everyday life, like my car, my dental work that needed doing, which I've just had today. It's just stopped being numb. Other things around my house that needed maintaining, things that I've put off. So you might think, oh, I'm getting kicked here to get this stuff done, but it's all needed. So it's really helpful. And also our intuition may be strong because Neptune is actually really active, and you might have noticed that in your dreams as well, have very vivid dreams. And that actually can flood over Saturn. So as Molly McCord described it. And also it means that you may feel things happen in the moment more. There might be connections between things which have a look at those, because that's like the universe pushing you. Trust me, I've been pushed. And Uranus in Gemini, this has happened recently for the first time in 84 years, and all the astrologers are talking about this. Uranus has this cycle, and many of us won't experience this again in our lifetimes. But these new ideas, new communications come through around things like travel, transport, language, And there's a faster moving feeling because Uranus was in Taurus, which was a bit slower, and hardworking, but a bit more ploddy. But Gemini is kind of like a bit more air linked, and it's going to be, a bit faster, really. And you might have found it a bit hard to sleep at times. Not only have we got a massive heat wave going on as well, but we've got this astrology, which is like quite stimulating us. Around July the 4th, there was a conjunction with Venus. So you got Uranus, Gemini, Venus. So causing quite some good social stuff, I think, and curiosity with new things. But Venus, Mercury will be retrograde as well around July 17th, 18th. We all know about that, don't we, where it slows us down. We have to reconsider things, particularly around business stuff and contracts and so on. And it will be retrograde in Leo till August the 11th. And so be sure we're kind of reorganizing things, reprioritizing, don't rush anything, be careful about the decisions you make in that period and so on. There's quite a lot of retrograde planets. So as well, Saturn will be going retrograde. I believe Neptune will be, Chiron will be at the end of July. And I think someone else, I think it's Pam Gregory, has talked about that, and Maria as well. So but with these retrogrades, it helps us really kind of reconsider things and really have a catch up, I think. You've got as well, what did you mention? Helping us close things out, really. And she thinks that it's kind of exciting. Everything might come together, and the second half of July will be very dynamic. But the Capricorn moon says be practical and trust that a new reality is coming. Then Maria Vasami, who's a shamanic astrologer, she calls herself, talked about it. She's short and sweet and to the point, really. She's Greek, I believe, so she brings something else to astrology, which is great. And she talked about this Capricorn full moon being very persuasive on the economics, money, business. It's male. Capricorn's male energy, a strong masculine energy. And Uranus there as well, being involved would bring sudden changes and possibly unexpected ones. And lots of chaos, so the old era into the new era, new identity. Saturn's karmic as well. And you've got like the patriarchy being challenged, I think, as well. And you've got really, well, she talked about Uranus is an outer planet and this 84-year cycle. And it's the only time in our life it's in Gemini. And it's for 8 years. So it goes retrograde as well in Taurus in November till April 26 when it's in Gemini again. But you'll feel it as big shifts, and it's the third biggest planet. You've got Jupiter, she was talking about Jupiter, Saturn, and then Uranus, and those planets moving into different signs is a strong influence because they're so big. And probably massive changes around financial stuff. And also Gemini with Uranus, mind, social media, changing how we think, and this new economy coming forward and a new system altogether, probably. You've also got Uranus conjunct with Venus, a bit more about the pleasure of life rather than looking at just money and finance, but looking at what gives us pleasure, what causes beauty in art, looking at those things as well. And Venus is kind of saying, hey, wait, what about pleasure? And so on. And then you've got, she talked about social media. She's got quite an angle on social media trying to control us and control the masses. So that was interesting. Saturn rules Capricorn, as we say, and it's also you've got Neptune helping on intuition and Pluto helping with the transition as well. So that she talked about us getting closer to our soul and our dreams with Neptune and getting away from that influence of social media where you're looking at Instagram, you think, oh, I should be doing that. And it's so confusing. But if we go inward, then that's where we are, kind of thing. And she talked about the 5 change or new cycles as we prepare. And then, you've got inner Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. These changes are going to be enormous. Really, I don't think people realise. And you've got Saturn changed already on the 24th of the 5th in Aries, and that was a big one. That's like a 29-year cycle. Jupiter to Cancer in June, that was huge. Uranus to Gemini going on. And these will really affect us. And then Pluto, November 24th, moved to Aquarius. And Neptune in Aries, March 25th, new cycle. And Neptune, Saturn in Aries, once in a lifetime thing going on. So, and Uranus is about awakening, freedom, Saturn, Neptune, spiritual karma, awakening. So really intense kind of alignments being mentioned. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I'm on to another one now, which is sorry, let me get my notes. Pam Gregory. She talked about the old versus the new, ancient technology and science coming to light, and Pluto creating a crisis for the sign it moves through if things are not right. So that was interesting. And Neptune retrogrades 4th of July. Symbolism magnified of the planet. It's very much about pollution, dreams are heightened. And she mentioned, as you fall asleep, ask if you can be shown help for your highest good, because it's a good time, and dreams can link in with showing us things. And it's a good time when you're falling asleep because your brain is in a better, way of taking in the information. And she talked about Pluto retrograde secrets coming to light. And she got Saturn retrograde 13th, government authority figures. She talked about quite a lot of that and changes possibly in that first week in July. I can't think what has happened then, actually, because I'm recording this on the 10th. But Uranus enters Gemini 7th, then later Taurus, then in Gemini in April 26th. So all planets in new signs in 2026. So that she sees that as the launch of humanity, new humanity, really. And she thinks that Uranus and Taurus would bring probably shocking news like seismic activity. I've seen personally in my kind of dreams and visions quite a lot of magma, if you like, to do with the Earth changing. And if you're a fixed sign, I am, you may feel restless and a need for freedom and leaving stale routines behind. And when Leo is coming to the fore, I think we'll see possibly some of these leadership changes. She mentioned Israel chart, and Israel's chart leadership and the midheaven, which is a house, and stirring from the people. And like the similar astrology around the 4th of July, 1776, the independence movement in America. And it's that kind of astrology going on. So we'll see what that brings. And we may want more flexibility and some amazing AI technology that's coming along, really. And these freedoms created by Uranus and Gemini. Interesting. She said 1984, the novel was published in similar astrology, which was really looking at, stirring things up a bit and social unrest and stuff. She talked about Uranus will be conjunct with Sedna, and it's kind of igniting a metamorphosis as we become lighter and light bodies, and we go into our light body more, which is something from what it has been a bit heavier. So I'm wondering if that might inspire people to eat lighter food and that type of thing. She talked about this month, mid-time, shortly, a glimpse of what begins in February, linking with spiritual leadership and us and our sovereignty, and Gemini ruling our hands and lungs, she mentioned, and that breath work is important, really. She mentioned the full moon is tonight around 9:30 as well. So also Capricorn, mastery, authority, and that, what else did you say? The finger of God she mentioned as well, which was all through 2026, but it actually kind of links in as a bit with Scorpio as well. Birthing, regeneration, and funnily enough, is linked to injections, and she thinks it might be linked to stem cell technology and innovations and anti-aging and vitality and about living well. Not so much the Botox and stuff, but the actual ability to live longer with vitality. So that was interesting. And living in joy and communities being important. Then I'm on to Tanya Gabrielle as the last one. Sorry, this is a long one yet again. Just shows you how much is going on with the astrology. And Tanya was the one that always gives the time, so I'm really grateful to her, which I've already told you. And she talked about the sun in Cancer and the moon in Capricorn and the C of Cancer and Capricorn being important. She's into numerology, but also letters. And she talked about, well, that looks right. And it's kind of linked with the future. And it's at 18, those are at 18 degrees, sun in Cancer, moon in Capricorn. 1 and 8 equals 9. But 18 links with dreams and health. And cardinal signs, which Cancer and Capricorn are action and fresh starts. So that's interesting. And also, though 1 and 8 equals 9 the degrees, and that can mean shadow is deception in countries or families. So shadow meaning one of the less positive aspects. She talked about Mercury retrograde July the 18th. And then, very interestingly, she showed astral cartography map where a line for the full moon went through Iran, and she talked about sun moon aspects to Mars and about passion, fire, creativity. So you might feel some of that, but only Mars links to the moon and sun. She mentioned and that Mars is connected with war. And there are 2 lines near Lebanon, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in the ascendant. And another line impacts the USA, the midheaven, Sun-Moon line, USA linked to the Middle Eastern conflict as well. So it's interesting that she got those. And funnily enough, probably a day ago, I got a vision thing, dream thing, and I could see it was above the earth, and I could look down and I could see Egypt, and like the bunny shape of it's not the Red Sea, I always forget, but where I've stayed there actually, Sharm, is it Sharm? There, and I could see that, and it was like a vision thing of looking at that area. So interesting. Also, Venus is trine Pluto, so something about the love, passion, magnetism, very, very strong. And beauty, abundance, and the social side. I think it's going to be quite a social time, July. And making creative abilities strong and having faith. So also she's talked about bringing into balance the male-female energy as well. And that 13 is a key, and the moon is connected to 13, and 13 is 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are 4, and they're connected to Saturn. And we may be being asked to feel that balance in us. We've all got some male, female energy in us, actually. So, long one, sorry. Hope someone watches it. Anyway, happy full moon in Capricorn. Take care.